Welcome to another episode of Uncensored Daily Radar, where your fellow foiled friend scans the entire globe for what may or may not be artificial and nefarious activity. We go through satellite radar as well as the zippity zip zap radar, aka NEXRAD, to better understand atmospheric and environmental conditions in full context. Before we get started, there are a few things that you should know. Number one, I repeat, I am not a meteorologist, but I am a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist, which obviously makes me far more qualified to analyze atmospheric conditions. Number two, videos are fairly short, but feel free to skip ahead to any section you're most interested in. And lastly, if you'd like to see these daily radar videos, please consider becoming a paid subscriber. Otherwise, this video is about to reach a paywall, and we'll pause right now. Now. Okay. All right, let's get started. Good evening. It is October 19th, about 10:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's get started. All right, so we are going to look at the general... Every time I start the show, my dog's like, it's time to move. I clip his nails, but it doesn't seem to matter with sound. Okay, so we're going to just check out NEXRAD in general, and then we're going to hop into some data and news, come back. We'll do a deep dive into regions around the country with regard to NEXRAD, and then we'll hop into trails for the whole planet. Every single glow you see here is a NEXRAD radar station. The official statement is such as simply Doppler radar, helping us track weather systems, give us forecasts, things like that. Well, the conspiracy theory is that these towers are equipped with more technology than just Doppler, but they can actually utilize that built-in microwave technology to heat up the atmosphere. And that can do several things. One, obviously, it can heat up areas, create excessive drought, make them more prone to wildfires. Two, if you can create a wild temperature swing that inevitably results in major winds, severe winds. We're hearing a lot about micro bursts, which are essentially tornado force winds, but just moving straight. It's like normal wind moving around, but it's going the speed of a freaking tornado. And we're hearing about those quite often. And another thing, by creating these heated areas, you're creating high pressure zones. And high pressure zones can be used to steer low pressure systems, aka storms. So theoretically, if you could do this, you could create high pressure zones here with the storm here, and it would be forced to stay along the path that you've given it. Other things are, it's theorized that these towers can emit certain frequencies that can manipulate humans or animals themselves. All right, so once again, there seems to be a you want to turn off any kind of blue filter that you have, like turn off night shift. You want to be able to see the blue because that's where most of the crazy stuff happens. All right, so lately we've discovered that the bird migration map certainly does match the green that appears on NEXRAD, although sometimes it doesn't line up, which is why we need to see them next to each other to see what the real connection is here. In fact, let's do that. All right, so I matched up the times exactly. All right, so the bird migration does not account for any of this activity here. Oh yeah, and again, for those of you who are new, the blue and the green is unusual. We've seen that now for about 2 months straight over the US. And then, before that, we had another 4 weeks of it, I would say. But outside of maybe a total of 12 weeks, I haven't seen this look like this. Now, there's a lot of other things that are going on NEXRAD, with all the what looks like frequency manipulation of storms, well, possibly. But as far as, all this, it does line up mostly with the bird migration map. But, like this activity here doesn't line up with the bird migration map. This blue here doesn't line up. Now, California is very regularly like this as of the last couple of months. And oftentimes there are no birds listed here at all. Sorry, just looking around. The one up here in Maine is doing quite a bit. Normally at night they'll get more sensitive. Meaning like you'll be able to see more color if there is going to be any kind of color. But all right, but other than that, let's see. What? All right, yeah, this was a monster storm that went through here, by the way. I mean, not like we did have tornado warnings, and it was very windy in these areas. We had a lot of severe wind warnings, and I believe we still have some going on over here. But yeah, look at that. I mean, that's just like a thick storm. And actually, right where there were the tornado warnings, that's when we were seeing some sketchy activity on radar with all that like rippled radar stuff coming in on every side. But then it stopped. And then for the rest of the storm, we didn't really see a whole lot, at least down here. We'll zoom in and be able to see more. But looks like there's trails up here just by how NexRad looks. It looks like that precipitation. There's gonna be trails over there. In fact, let's just pull it up now since we're already here. Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Look at all these trails. Loads and loads and loads of them. Speaking of loading, I will pull this up and just let it load. I'll set it for, well, we did a show last night. It was not even really a show. It was just a recap to get it on record. But this is showing the last 24 hours. And it takes, takes a little bit of time to load. Not a long time. But I don't see this before I show it to you most of the time. And yeah, I mean, there's trails all over here, and I did not see that in advance. Lots of trails. Okay. Looks like there's trails over here too. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Trail, 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 trail. Which means there's a lot more where that came from. Trail, 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 trail. Lots and lots of trails mixed in. All right, anything else that we can see without zooming in? Because we'll zoom in later. Not really. Not a whole lot to mention, actually. Besides all this crazy green stuff, I still am not convinced that that's birds. I mean, yes, the green stuff tends to match the bird migration map. But remember, the bird migration map is actually based off of what NexRad picks up. It's a NexRad map. And yes, they say that they can tell the difference between birds and other things based off of the bounce back, like the Doppler that hits them. It's a unique reflection, which is totally true that can do that. But who knows? It wouldn't be the first time you see patsies. So I don't want to just believe that that's what that is. So I want to pay attention to it every day. Oh, look at that! Lots of that static zip-zappery going on up here. What? That is interesting. I do wonder what was going on over there. All right, let's hop into some data. Oh, my dog is deciding to... Oh, it drives me nuts. I love this dog so much. But he does this thing that my other dog did when I was growing up. He just, when he licks himself like a freaking cat, it's like he's drinking his fur. All right. We still have coastal warnings here. Rip current statement over in Daytona Beach. We have severe flood warning, but that thing's been there. It's been reinstated for months, like every frickin' day. South Carolina loaded with lake wind advisories. Central and far western North Carolina has some warnings. We've got gusty showers, more wind advisories, lots of wind advisories, caking. Well, actually, yeah, strong gusty winds. Cold front approaches in West Virginia, southern Ohio, and eastern Kentucky. Oh, lake wind advisory, special marine warning over in Maryland. What is this for? Small craft could be thrown overboard with... Oh, winds and waves, high winds and high waves. Over in the Great Lakes, we've got gale warnings. Over in New Mexico, high wind warnings. In Colorado, we've got some red flag warnings due to the wind and relatively low humidity. Fire hazards. South Dakota, high wind watch. Wind advisories in North Dakota as well. Severe high wind warning. So that's where the winds are now in Wyoming. Did I say Wyoming twice? Winter weather advisory in Wyoming as well. North central Utah, severe freeze watch. Nevada, we've got lake wind advisory in the northwest. Got coastal warnings along the western side, beach hazard statements, large breaking waves up to 20 to 25 feet. Wow, that is pretty high actually. Southern Washington, northern Oregon, wind advisories. Southeastern Washington, wind advisories. All right, so we basically got a lot of wind, lots of wind, fire hazards in these areas with low humidity. There's a lot of wind all over the place. Are we getting wind warnings over here anywhere? Thunderstorm. Coastal event warning. Paris, thunderstorm warning. Rain flood warning. Rain warning. Whoa, what's going on? Oh, hurricane. Forest fire. Wait, where is this? Oh, that's not a hurricane. Forest fires over in by Kazakhstan. Tropical cyclone. Yep. Yeah, so there's just a ton of wind over. Oh, what about over here? Forest fire. You know what's, yeah, all the winds are in Alaska to the eastern side of the United States. That's it. What about down here? What do we got going on here? Heavy rains. Heavy rains. Heavy rains. Yeah, it's literally only the United States that has wind issues right now. All right. We've got 98L. It is still a tropical depression. We do not have a cone yet. I don't like, well, not hopefully, but it would not be good if it were to make its way into the Gulf where the waters are generally warmer. Then again, it is getting later in the year, but it would not be good to go in here. And then, yeah, there's a lot of severe. What does this look like? And then we've got this hurricane heading in here. It's a tropical storm at this point. This poor area is just been getting hit over and over again. And then we have this one. It's going to hit Africa. Tropical storm's going to hit Africa. Very interesting. All right, we got dust out here in the Atlantic. This has been the reason we haven't had so many storms, being able to make it into even a tropical depression. It's been loading up the air all year. There's been none over here, which is why we've had so many hurricanes forming over here. But sometimes the dust slips south enough or doesn't really leave Africa much at all. And then we can get storms developing, which is pretty much what happened with the, what was it called? 98L. AQI. This is the surface ozone. Pretty high in these areas. Let's see where the fires are. We got smoke here. Some smoke here. And we have smoke over here again. But I'm not really seeing why this spot right here and this spot and this spot. I guess there's fires but no smoke, which is odd. Nitrogen dioxide. This moves with the sun. PM 2.5. Not bad. Not bad at all, actually. Aerosols, also not bad. Sulfur dioxide. Surface ozone. Not too bad. Carbon monoxide concentration. Only good in these kind of areas here. Fire danger, extreme over here. Now it doesn't look like there's much fire danger over here. It's moderate, low, but they're under the severe warnings over there. Just look at the pressure. This also tends to correlate with this, but you would expect this is high pressure. Let's see. Whoops. This, okay, so that is high pressure. And then over here you would expect high pressure. Yeah, so we initially thought maybe the green had to do with the pressure, but I guess it kind of does, because if it is birds, remember, birds aren't going to fly through storms, which is generally where low pressure systems are. All right, let's see what they say about the tropical depression or tropical storm Melissa, likely to form the Caribbean as Invest 98L starts to organize. Oh, there's no video with this one? Oh, okay, there is.
But let's talk tropics here, because we have a real threat for the Caribbean. Invest 98L, 35 miles per hour, the wind right now. The chance of development within the next 2 days, 30%. But it's within that next 7 days, the 70% zone, that has forecasters and meteorologists perking up their ears a little bit, because we are not done with hurricane season.
And remember, it's already turned into a tropical depression, I believe. Let me check on that. Yes, tropical depression. I just kind of want to get a feel for what they're expecting here.
And although we haven't seen too many threats just staring down at the United States, this one not even either. But, you know, we're not done with hurricane season until November 30th. So while we're dealing with severe weather on one hand this time of year, we're also having to juggle both in the tropics realm. And in this moment, it's bringing heavy rain to portions of the Windward Islands. Now, there is a little bit of organization to this. It just needs a little extra kick, which it's expecting to get once we get into the Central Caribbean. For the Eastern Caribbean, ensemble lows have a tropical depression and where that forms. Now, a lot of them are showing the Central Caribbean being that hotbed for activity. But then we have a split. And this is where the scenarios come into play, our question marks. We have some of the models that are looping this to the north, out towards the Dominican Republic. That would be more so along the lines of the GFS. Google AI also kind of liking this one as well. The Euro, though, still holding strong that this is going to continue its trek out to the west and potentially bring impacts to Central America. It's still too soon to call, I would say, that.
Interesting. Also, not weather related, but a 4.2 mag. Oh yeah, I forgot to show you the earthquake map. Ta-da! I don't see anything unusual, except we do have quite a large one over here in Hawaii, this 4.2, and that's what the article's about. This is a silent video. He's like, gotta finish this game though. Gosh, he really stuck around for a little while there. Was a very thrilling video. I guess they didn't have any other videos. Well, anyway, 4.2 mag. Hawaii. So remember that microburst that hit Arizona, which we've heard of several different microbursts, and I did show you guys a video explaining what that is, but essentially it's just wind, but the force and speed of a tornado. Well, I never heard about that until maybe a couple years ago, and all of a sudden people are talking about it so frequently. Now, they've always existed, but not to the point of it being in the news so regularly. Anyway, a state of emergency has been declared in the wake of a powerful microburst that left miles of damage in Arizona.
Times, they can feel more chaotic than anything you've ever felt before. I mean, here's an example. Check this out. This is Tempe, Arizona, where a microburst swept through the area just earlier this week on Monday. And I mean, when you're looking at this thing, it looks like you're in a tornado, right? It's like the trees getting shredded. You can hear it. Branches are falling. I mean, whoever's taking this video, really living up to that phrase that the cameraman never dies, because that's terrifying. Like, getting way too close, should stay indoors. We have another vantage point of this where when you listen, now talking about, hey, it's like you're getting pressure washed. Look at this tree. Yeah, they zoomed in on it, still frame. That thing like touched the pavement and came back up, right? It's like leaning over. You can just see the sheer intensity of this wind and rain. And by the way, I mean, I kind of glossed over this. Tempe, Arizona, that's where this is unfolding in a severe event. The reason why? You have tropical moisture out of systems that had fallen apart from the
Reasons? Legitimate reasons.
EPAC entering into here. But we say microburst. What does that mean? That is a micro-scale event inside a dynamic thunderstorm, a supercell. So you got rain and hail that's suspended up into a powerful updraft, right? You have all this warm air.
Yeah, reasons. Yeah, well, if they were so normal, then why weren't we taught about them in school? Why were kids taught tornadoes, hurricanes? These are the types of clouds. Never heard about cloud bursts or microbursts. It's like 1984 up in here. It always was, always is, and always will be. All right, let's do a little zippity zappity zoom. All right, so we already said that there were trails in here, and we already looked, and there were. This guy just beams up into Canada all the time. These towers have been glowing this blue-green every single day since before those Northern California fires ignited. See how the precipitation is seen only as it's passing over these towers. See how it gets more sensitive the closer to the towers that it gets? It's like there's dark zones. See right here? It's a dark zone. Even though there's rain, it's not showing it. And that is odd because there's really not that much distance between these towers. I mean, the reason we have towers spaced out the way they are is so that we don't have any blind spots. And yet there's not only, it's like a dead zone here. I don't think I remember seeing that before over there. So that is odd. I suppose there's also a dead zone here. There's like dead zones all over the place right now. Right here? That's weird. Definitely have to keep that in mind. Oh. Okay, so wow. All right, so Southern California, you'll see regular zip zaps like this 24/7, literally since I started the show. It's the only place in the country that does that. But this extensive stuff, see how this just keeps beaming into the same spot over and over and over, and then you see the second one spiraling. All right, for those of you who've been following along, what do I say this means? Every time I've seen this, what comes next? Wind. I heard you guys all say it together. You said, wind. Every time I have seen this, it means severe winds. I don't know why. even if they're not there yet, it means that they're going to be. And yeah, we do have severe winds coming in. And again, there are a lot of towers in this country, and they don't do this. Also, this one will do this before the severe wind is even announced that it's going to arrive. So yeah, there is something odd here. I do wonder if there's something causal going on. Ooh, lots of rain. Lots of trails. That's supposedly birds. Supposedly birds. That's an interesting emission there. Flame-like radar coming out here. I do wonder about potential fire hazards here. Because whenever I've seen this, it's usually correlated with fire. Is there a fire warning over here? I can't remember. No, but there is a wind warning. Ooh, all right, so this storm, as soon as it starts getting into Pennsylvania, we start seeing some of that rippled radar stuff going on. Now, the official statement is that this, let me try to get an example. There we go. That this is just, it's called an artifact, a reflection off of birds or insects. Now that's legit. That can happen for sure. But when you see them, when you see a ton of them, when I see a ton of them, I can normally tell where there's a tornado warning or there's some crazy hailstorm or super severe, like ample amounts of rain, possibly floods. I only saw this once, and then, okay, so 1, 2, right there. And it's a pretty decent distance between the amount of times you see it. So, I mean, not a whole lot going on with that there too. Not seeing anything for the last couple of hours. There's something there. It looks like if it was going to drop a whole lot of rain, it would have already done it by now. And it's been a couple of hours. And it's probably been okay. I don't know. We'll have to see. There are a ton of trails in here. So it's possible, let's say if we put our tinfoil hats on, we could say, oh, they initiated the rainfall. And now it's all dropping. Maybe it doesn't need to be consistent. I don't know. I'm just saying my ideas out loud. We're learning as we watch. See some of that rippled radar down here. Also, you would think that if it really were a reflection off of birds and insects and a ton of birds were flying away, you would probably suspect the birds are going to fly away from the storm, not fly away after the storm has already passed. Plus, it also, the amount of birds that are present over the U.S. seem to be present over here, which the storm already went through. Got a little bit of that ninja radar going on right here. Looks like that area got a ton of rain up here. No wonder Daytona Beach is under a flood warning. Yeah, that is intense. Okay, looks like a lot of trails going through there, but we already talked about that. Lots of activity going on next right here. Oh, and then look at, we've got our little radial pulses. See all these teeny tiny little circles everywhere? Those are not next rad towers. See that? Those are not next rad towers. But every morning at around sunrise, you see them emitting something. Now that's the other mystery. We may have figured out what all the green was, but I want to confirm what these are. I do believe, because they're so frequent, there's thousands and thousands of them. They must be cell towers. See, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger simultaneously. And it's not just here. I can see them all over here because I've been watching them for so long, I can tell. But they're there. And then it's daytime and they don't get as sensitive. Oh, well, maybe it has nothing to do with sensitivity. What if they're just turning it up at night? Who knows? Yeah, they're saying all this is birds. See how it's moving? The thing is, birds, people are reporting all over the place that they've barely seen any birds. And some studies are showing that birds don't quite know how to migrate anymore. They've gotten so confused that they're going in the wrong direction. And many of them are dying because of it. There's a lot of very unusual things going on. All right, let's check out trails. This is that. Okay. I'm going to speed this up a bit. Some trail haze going on over Florida. What? Whatever. All right, got loads of trails in all of this right here. All this is just loaded with trails. So many. All up here as well. And over here as well. We'll switch satellites, get a better view of that. Which we already talked about this particular area. Lots of trails. Lots of trails in here. Boom, 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 boom. Switch satellites to see Europe a bit better. Looks like there's something going on out here. Yeah, there is. Trail. There's trails mixed in here. Where is this? Where is that going? Oh, it's going down. Okay. And hazing out. Part of it's going down, part of it's going up. Okay, so some trail remnants could be getting near the storm here. I'm not seeing any directly in the storm, though. So that's good. All right. Might as well check it out. You guys ever eat golden kiwi? I'm obsessed with golden kiwi. I'm not obsessed with regular kiwi, but I am obsessed with golden kiwi. If you haven't had it, you're missing out, guys. You have to have it. And I eat the skin and all. I just cut off like the hard part at the end. I just take it outside, eat it over the grass or eat it over the sink. I don't want to spend time chopping it up because I end up devouring it in under 30 seconds. And it's quite messy. Or rather, I'm quite messy and I don't have the patience to cut it up and eat it like a princess. All right, so we do have trails heading into Chile and Argentina again. I wonder if we have any in Brazil. I only ever see them in Chile, Argentina, and Brazil lately. Alrighty then. Like see the equator. All right, we do have trails out here in the Pacific. I feel like I'm seeing remnants in here, but I can't see trails. There had to have been trails in there. I believe there were trails in there. Looks like some broken apart versions are there. I can see that remnant, so I believe they're probably in there. They're obviously over here. Spreading out into clouds. Definitely a lot of trails in here, which I do not like, because Alaska's been getting beaten down by storms and the whole frickin' area is underwater. And this ultra high wind area is filled with more trails. I can see them in here, and I can see the remnants on the outskirts. And you can see some of the trails on the outskirts. Where was a good example? It's kind of hazy by the time it floats out over the clouds, but they're there. I know they're there. And there's trails in here and up here in Canada. Yeah. Trail. Oof. All right, let's see what's going on. Bubbling down under. Da, 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 ba, ba, da. Da, da. You come from a land down under. You better run. There are trails in your southeast corner again. But hold on, this might be contrails. I mean, they're usually the suspicious trails, but these look pretty darn faint. However, all right, so, all right, there's an X. See, that's 8 o'clock UTC. There it is, still. Okay, it's an hour and 10 minutes later. Still there. 9:50. That's in a couple of hours. That is odd. Or it should be odd. We saw trails over here. So New Zealand and Australia are dealing with some stuff, likely. Trails up here in Russia. Over here as well. Was that Mongolia or China? There's trails in here. See this one right here? It's a pretty clear one. Restarting. Boop, boop. Yeah. And we're back to this map. Let's see what time frames are available today, because this has been glitchy ever since the day before that hurricane struck. Spain and Portugal. All right, so I set these to 60-minute intervals. I'm just going to show you. Oh, obviously there was a skip there. 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 Oh. That skipped several hours there. Wait. Okay, so it went from 22 to 45. Yeah, lots of time skipped. These are the only pieces of footage I have available. And during the entire time that they've been blocking all of this, hold on. Oh, there are trails here, but because I can't see anything, I'll have to chalk it up to contrails, but which, you know, if Africa has them, they're usually around there, but those are pretty darn thick. In India, I do think is participating weather modification as a weather weapon, possibly. Lots and lots of trails coming over Europe still. My gosh, so many. And coming off the coastline here. Which again, I can't get a good view. All right, well, that was a pretty darn short show for today. Short, sweet, to the point. All right, well, you guys have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow.